Hi guys, welcome back to another production meeting. We're talking a little bit of news this week. Review a movie, if you want to call it that. Yeah, a movie, and some Loki Doki time. I think
Yay!
three of us actually. Did three of us watch this movie? Another movie this week? Did
No,
you?
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched anything else. I just
Right.
watched. Yeah, I missed out, man.
You give us like a weekly dose of here's 10 horror films I watched. Here's 15 horror films I rewatched.
I'm
I
kind
got
of.
it.
I'm.
It's one of those ones where I guess we didn't have the time, and I'm not gonna watch it without Jeannie. So I have not seen it yet.
I'm truly shocked, sir.
I didn't even
Shocked.
watch. I didn't even watch. Wait, which one are we talking about?
Fear Street.
Both of them? Yeah. See, I didn't want to. I thought we were talking about The Purge. No, I didn't watch that, but I haven't watched Fear Street because we were waiting for her brother to come over tomorrow to watch it. So I have to wait. Although I've heard it was good.
It is. I'll talk about it after you guys. What did you guys do this week?
Let's see. I didn't watch Fear Street, so that's one thing. But I did watch two films from the Red Box. One is a horror movie, if you could call it that, called The Unholy. It is god awful and super boring. Don't watch it. There's really no point. And then I watched this other movie, which I think it's a French film, called Meander. I think it's Meander. And it's actually pretty interesting and pretty good. It's kind of like a horror movie. It's about this woman who gets kind of kidnapped, and then she wakes up in this basically tube, like a tube, and she has to go through these obstacles room to room. It's kind of like Cube, but it's just one woman in a tighter space. But it's really interesting. I definitely recommend that. You can check that out at your Redbox.
Also, France and the close quarters horror thrillers this year.
No.
Didn't I just talk about Oxygen last week?
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's one way. I mean, with all this COVID stuff, they don't have a lot of space and they can't have a lot of people, so they have to get creative.
Since we can't go outside, we're going to go in a box.
Yep. Yeah, that's all that he did.
Gotcha.
Well, I played more Breath of the Wild. That's about all I did, and the homework. And I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. I was busy all day, and I just now remembered that Loki came out today, and I'm just
no.
crap. So I have not watched it, not because of any disinterest. I totally forgot about it. So when it comes to that part, you can give your overall impressions, and then when it comes to spoilers, I can just mute get that.
You're just gonna have to disappear that time, Alex.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
We're going to
I
mine
don't wanna-
everything that happens.
I don't want to ruin it for everybody else. So, when it comes to that moment, I'll just meander.
Meander?
Yeah.
You go get stuck in a tube.
Just wander around your set.
I'm going to put everybody on mute and then, hey, here's a tour of the area. So, but I did partial homework and then Breath of the Wild, and that's about it.
Coolio. Right?
I didn't do a whole lot. I watched the homework. I watched Fear Street, and I watched the Forever Purge, which I don't know if anybody else watched that. Wasn't half bad. We had a choice between that and Boss Baby, and I was like, I really don't want to go see Boss Baby. So we went and saw the Forever Purge. I've already seen like half of this series, just in and out. It's very much one of those things you can jump in and out of. I think. I enjoyed it. I had an okay time. I don't think you need to rush out to see it. But I mean, as far as quality goes, I mean, pretending that realizing the fact that all of these movies have the actual political know-how of an eighth grader, then it's probably the best one in the series.
Wow.
By a small margin.
I just like the fact that you have the one Purge movie. I don't know how many Purge movies. Is this the fifth or the sixth?
This is the fifth one and a series.
This is the fifth?
Oh, yeah. And a series that apparently got 2 seasons. I looked that up the other day and was very surprised. I have not seen the show.
It's name recognition. I watched the first episode and it's not a good show, but name recognition got it at second season.
But we have one movie that's like The Purge, which is about the concept. And then we have one movie that's about the first Purge, which is the initial Purge. And then we have one movie that's
Purge, the first one.
Yeah. And then we have one movie that's about the last Purge. And then we got a movie now that's about the Purge after the last Purge.
Well, the thing I'm genuinely curious about is this film this film does open up some very intriguing concepts. And I left the theater wanting another Purge movie for the first time in whatever other Purge movies I've seen. So that was, I thought, a nice takeaway for a perfectly average movie. So I get 6 out of 10. It's okay.
They've upgraded the Purge concept, and now Ryan wants more.
They have, and I don't even really want to give away kind of where it feels like it's going. But I mean, based on even like the trailer and the title, it feels like we're going from like, oh, small little horror concept to like, this is just going to become a dystopian thing in the United States. It's like I don't know. So I'm intrigued by the idea that we're kind of escalating things past its humble origins. So yeah.
All I know about it is that I did close on Thursday, and Ash was like, "Hey, can you get me a ticket to see that?" I said, "Sure." And so she went and she watched it, and I asked her. She goes, "You just said it was cringy." That's all I remember hearing.
I don't know if it's good or not. It's cringy, but
okay.
All of them are cringy. This is a franchise where you have to believe in this franchise that on one night a year that people would, instead of just going out and shooting each other, come up with elaborate masks and traps and try to become part of the Saw franchise in real life. Where it's like, what are we gonna do the rest of the year, Jethro? I'm gonna work on my bunny mask, and it's gonna have red light up eyes. You sure you don't want to just buy a gun? Nope. We're gonna have a big trap. It's gonna have a goat in it. And when someone tries to free the goat, it's going to flip them upside down.
Do you think in this world they have like pop-up Purge stores? Like in Halloween, you have those Halloween stores.
Oh my god!
Like
that'd be hilarious.
I want to see the Purge commercialism edition. Undercover Boss Purge Mart.
Purge Mart.
They sell like all sorts of costumes and masks, knives, guns, bear traps, whatever.
Okay, so like insert myself in here. Ryan, I think your wish is actually going to come true. According to, this is taking this as a grain of salt, according to Wikipedia, there's a 6th one coming out that's going to focus on Frank Grillo's character, Leo Barnes.
Yeah, from 2 and 3? Yeah.
Yes.
2
yes. Because I was wondering like where we were getting the 5. I forgot that there was the first Purge, which I haven't seen, but I've seen the first 3. But I guess the 6th one is going to be like international. I guess we're going overseas with this now. Where else can we go?
Kind of hard
Space.
to contain.
Space.
No,
Space.
we're not talking about space.
Purge
Space
Mars
stuff.
We can't go back to F9. We've got enough stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say like it feels very like prequel to Mad Max, as in the first Mad Max being a prequel to the second one. Doesn't count. But what the first is to the second is what this film feels like to hopefully latter films.
Right.
So, as fine as it was, I was genuinely intrigued by the rest of it. So,
well, I'm interested. I mean, you said they're making another one, but I mean, it only made like, I want to say like $15 or $13 million at the box office this week.
But this is a $500 million franchise. They can cover their losses.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm sure those movies aren't that expensive to make anyway. What are you paying Frank Grillo?
$2 million. Well, again, according to Wikipedia, like the first Purge was made 137 million worldwide on a $13 million budget, so they made that up.
Wait, the first Purge or the first Purge? The initial Purge.
4th movie.
Oh, the first Purge.
Right, the first Purge. So yeah, it made $137 million worldwide. Election year, I guess, made 118 worldwide.
Maybe those Purge movies hit a little better pre-COVID, and now we're just like,
yeah.
It's a little too close to home here.
Yeah, because this film did get beat by Boss Baby.
Wow.
Which, fun fact, Universal put out the top 3 films this week: F9, Boss Baby, and The Purge.
They didn't really have to try that hard, did they?
Nope.
Not really. But yeah, Matt, they aren't. I think the highest one, the most expensive one to make was Purge the election year, because the first one was on a $3 million budget. Apparently, Ethan Hawke his agent needs to be fired. The second one was a $9 million budget, and then 10. Then the last one was a $13 million budget. So they get a little bit more expensive as they go, but
yeah, like a 10% increase every movie.
Yeah, but they're raking in close to $120 million.
Dang.
Yeah. So, you know what's funny though is like I was reading an article about Blumhouse and like Jason, his like this whole way that he does business with these movies. He makes these like cheap horror movies on like with unknown actors and like up and coming directors, and they only make them for what, $10 million, and then they double and triple their money because they're so cheaply made.
Yeah, he'll give anybody, like, he'll cut them a check if they have an idea and be like, just go make this movie. This is what you have to spend.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think I even read like even Happy Death Day, like they only made that for like a couple $1 million, and it like made what, over $150 million or something like that.
Yeah. But
anyway, well, while you guys were doing that, I finished The Flight Attendant on HBO Max. That is actually a good time. If you guys actually sit down and watch it. Amy and I did it in chunks, so it's not like a must binge watch, but it is interesting concept. Pretty good script, pretty good story. So, I mean, if you're just watching for something to watch. I also finished a series of unfortunate events from Netflix. Yes, I know this ended like 2 years ago, but I was picking at that. Finally finished that.
Picking at it is a good word. I forgot that show existed and I finished it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like a couple episodes, at a time. Like I think I binge watched like the first season, and then the second season I kind of like just after that was just like picking at each episode. I love the set pieces for that show. Like I think that was one of the, like, I know I'm talking about it a couple years later, but like I think it's a very underrated Netflix show. I mean, I know it's only like 3 seasons, and it has a very concise beginning, middle, and end. But like the set pieces that Barry Sonnenfeld like feel to that show is just, it's like thick, and it's really kind of good. And Neil Patrick Harris was amazing in that show. I finally got around to Halloween 2018, which I think is probably the best horror movie that I've seen in the last few years. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big like Halloween fan, but I kind of dug this. And then I watched Fear Street. And Ryan, you watched Fear Street. What did you think of it?
It was fine. I enjoyed it. I got more intrigued as it went on. I was really worried because I didn't know. I'm not going to give too much away. I didn't know that the 3 were very interwoven.
Mm-hmm.
To say that as spoiler-free as possible, I thought it was like, oh, we get this film, then that's going to take place there, and then. So I was more intrigued by the finale of it. It is a nice throwback that falls tropes to most of the tropes that it's paying homage to.
Yeah.
Or falls into them. So it's good. I've had this problem with a lot of late horror movies, and I noticed this especially in Del Toro's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Ensemble casts aren't hitting as well, I don't think.
Right.
And I did not care about most of the characters in this movie. But I enjoyed it okay. I liked the score. I liked the atmosphere. The setting was unique. I loved the opening Scream homage.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed it. I gave it a 6, but a solid 6.
Yeah, I think I would step up about 7, because like you said, I think in the beginning of the film, like again, not trying to get too many spoilers, but like in the beginning of the film, it does feel very systematic and very by the numbers. But yeah, as soon as they start like world building with this, then it starts to become a little bit more interesting. And I think that's what drove me to watch, like kind of finish the movie, is the more that they kind of like delve deeper into like the back story, then I was more intrigued with it. So that's what I did. Are you guys ready for some news? But very little of it is. Not a lot of interesting stuff happened this week, except for Lovecraft Country got canceled. I second that notion, sir. I for sure thought that this was going to be like a given. I thought that they were going to renew this like right off the bat. Not entirely sure why. But then again, I mean, if you do watch the show, again, like a series of fortunate events, it does have a very clear beginning, middle, and end. But I was still kind of interested to see what they were going to do with it. What did you guys think?
Never watched it.
I never finished it, man.
I guess
So
it's me.
so
then.
for me it's not canceled because I haven't finished.
There you go.
Spoilers. That's the series finale, Matt. You're coming up on.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I know it wasn't on a perfect season. It's got its ups and downs. I thought it was a great concept. I was really looking forward to more of it, or maybe something. Anthology treatment, more to this world, more Lovecraft on mainstream TV.
Yeah.
And I mean, HBO doesn't act stuff that quickly usually.
Yeah.
Popular stuff that did. I mean, I know critically it wasn't the biggest hit, but that was a really popular show when it came out. I had thought. So
Sounds like they got like a treatment for a second season and we're like, no, we're good.
Yeah. I think that's what Misha Green actually kind of hinted at, is like she had this whole concept going and she pitched it to HBO and they're like, I don't think so.
You're like, how much is this going to cost? Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
not doing that.
Yeah.
I hope it gets picked up, and I hope they keep the same composers if it does.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. Showtime probably could take a, swing at it. Netflix, they seem to be picking up crap left and right.
Yeah, Netflix will do anything. So will Prime, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
More to come.
Bezos got those
More to come.
Bezos bucks to throw. Yeah, man, he's dropping what? What did we say? Like
475 million, and then 250 million to buy the rights,
Jesus.
which I found out yesterday.
God.
But that's walking around money for him, man. He's good. He's got it.
They bought the rights to Lord of the Rings, and they could have made an entire Batman v Superman instead.
Well, I'm in the
the rights
minority
money.
where I'm fine with that, with the one we have, but whatever.
I'm not saying we needed another one. Budgetarily speaking, that's
Yeah.
empty.
But, we definitely
Yeah.
need Lord of the Rings.
Lovecraft, rest in peace.
Yes.
Macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese. So moving on, we got a new Masters of the Universe trailer. Did any of you guys watch this?
No, I wanted to, but I never did get around to it.
I did, and it looks kind of sick, man.
It
I'm a
looks
little-
amazing.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited.
I am definitely excited.
Pushing nostalgia aside, I think this looks a lot like Castlevania, by the same art style, the same company that did Castlevania. So I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do. The voice cast is pretty stacked. I can definitely tell that's Sarah Michelle Gellar, but maybe because I watched Buffy for 8 seasons, so I kind of got used to her voice. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for this. This looks pretty good.
All I
I was
saw
excited
Battle
without
Cat, and
them.
I was like, all right, this is on.
Yeah.
I know. I was excited without the trailer. I was like, all right, wait, when is it supposed to premiere?
July 23rd.
I was going to say, we're right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
And
Wait, what day of the week is that? Is that a Wednesday
That's
or?
a Friday.
Oh, okay.
The 16th. The 16th is Friday. So
I was hoping maybe they'd go the way of Loki and just kind of do it midweek. But
yeah. Which, by the way, is kind of an ingenious way for Netflix to do this. They drop their trailers like 3 to 4 weeks before the stuff actually comes out, and like we're not waiting 6 months to watch Shang-Chi to watch like actual movies. So
Unless you're Stranger Things.
yeah, right.
You guys remember that time Suicide Squad had us wait a year after its first trailer. A full 12 months after the first trailer dropped.
Yep. Just in case you didn't know, here it is.
The new one's like, oh, we're coming out in 3 months.
Yeah. Now that you can actually watch stuff in the theaters. So we got a first look at the Star Wars Visions. This also looks amazing. This is so Star Wars Visions, for anybody that doesn't know, is Lucasfilms went to some of the prominent anime artists and visionaries throughout Japan to actually create some like original shorts. I want to say some original stories and animate them, and they put it together in this like first look. I think I read that Visions is actually supposed to drop on Disney Plus on the 23rd of September, I want to say. But yeah, this many different artists, many different styles. It's almost like the Animatrix is the best way that I can describe it. But it does look amazing. So
well, I remember it made me, I mean, of all things, like, why this? But so there was the game. I don't know which came first. There was Dante's Inferno, the game, which is obviously based on the allegory. But there was an anime with it too, and it was very, very. This is why I think the video game came first. It was really. It had the same voice actors and everything, and they did, like, from chapter to chapter, they did different animation styles. Like, some were really, really weird, but then others were like, okay, this is cool, I'm digging this. And I thought the same thing with this. I think it's a smart move because it lets you open up. Like, I'm a full believer of, like, some animation styles are more popular and more effective in storytelling than others. And this is kind of like, this is making money while also testing the waters kind of deal. Right. So, sorry, I disappeared. Did I disappear for a second?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're
fine.
You're good.
Okay. I may disappear in a second. I'm just getting a call. Anyway, and
go away.
So I was like, this definitely opens up where you can test the waters of to see what people find popular the most. And I'm like, I'm all for it. So go ahead. Anyway, recording's back in progress. So yeah, I think that's a good idea, having all those different styles in there to just kind of see what sticks, and you can, plus you can gain popularity on what story is kind of most popular, because I'm sure they're going to be telling different.
Yeah, I think it's an anthology thing.
So yeah, I am all for that. I mean, the more, the better, honestly. Like, right. Just testing the waters.
Yeah. I don't know. Can't wait for this. Another trailer. Val Kilmer's documentary is coming out. Val, I guess, is coming out at the end of July, I want to say. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I'm actually kind of interested in seeing this. Apparently, this is like film footage that he's taken over like the last 40 years of his career or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't realize the trailer had come out already. I literally just read like a brief article about that today, because I think it's premiering at Sundance. I want to say that's what I read.
Cannes,
one of the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's footage that I guess he's recorded himself since like the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Like just his life, and I guess they put it all together for this film, which I feel like I saw this recently. There was another one with that was on Hulu. Who was it? Was it Soul Moon Frye? I can't remember, but I definitely saw one.
Yes, Kid 80s, Kid 90 or something like that, where she took like a bunch of videos of all those child actors of the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think it was fairly successful for her and for Hulu. So I feel like this is the thing we're going to be getting from now on, or like this point going forward, or more movies about people's lives that they've, videotaped since, they were younger. But Val Kilmer's lived a little interesting of a life, so I'm sure this film will be very interesting.
I honestly didn't realize that he had throat cancer.
Yeah.
There's like a scene in the trailer that he's actually talking through a voice box.
Yeah, I had seen the little article and it said something about how, I was like, man, is he in that rough a shape? I didn't know these things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which is weird because I thought he was back for Top Gun, but I guess not.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. I was gonna be like, yeah, he is back, man. They have like a jet that talks and he does the voice for it.
Oh, jeez. That is rude.
That is rude. So moving on, Tarantino has released a book.
Val Kilmer is on the cast list for Top Gun Maverick.
Is he? That's
He
what
is.
I
He's
thought.
fourth on the cast list.
Does it say a role?
Well, he's got to be Iceman.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably.
No, he's actually going to be Maverick, and Tom Cruise is playing Iceman.
Oh man, way to switch it up on him.
At least he's not playing Goose.
Wow.
Oh, too soon, man.
Wait, I haven't
Still
seen the
too
original.
soon.
What happens to Goose?
He marries Meg Ryan. That's all you need to know.
Happy ending for everyone.
That's right. Anyway, moving on. Tarantino apparently released a book, his movie version of, or novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And while promoting this, he has stuck to his guns and said that he is only making 10 films. So he's got one more left. One of the ideas was a reboot of Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, I didn't think so either. And the second one is what actually is in the news. Apparently he had an idea, I should say, of Kill Bill 3 starring Maya Hawke.
I mean, as much as I want to see anything more original than Kill Bill 3, I would also love to see Kill Bill 3. It seems like a really good last film for him. Like I want to be like, oh, let's get something just totally unique. And I mean, and even the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is very loosely based in history. It feels very unique. There are not a lot of movies like it. Gosh, it'd be so awesome to see kind of a wrap up for Kill Bill, because I think they've been pitching Kill Bill 3 since Columbiana came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it was ever I didn't think it was ever gonna happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority. I think a two-parter, like as good as they are, like I think it's kind of like, don't mess with Back to the Future. Don't mess with these. Kind of leave them the way they are. So I don't know. I don't think it would diminish that much in quality, but I think because it's that far removed from it, maybe not. I remember several years ago reading how this was before Once Upon a Time came out. He wanted to do some type of genre. I can't remember, but he also wanted to do like a 1920s kind of like Bonnie and Clyde kind of film. I remember like that was a really big like thing he wanted to do. So I'm surprised that hasn't like been kind of rumored a little bit more. I'll watch it regardless of what it is. If it's Kill Bill 3, I'll go see it because, like you said, Ryan, those are vastly original and they're really, really, really good. So I mean, even if this one's not as good, you still got to go watch it.
Plus, we could have a Kill Billogy.
Kill Billogy.
All right. There's two things here. One, I'll believe it that he's only directing 10 films after he directs the 10th one and he dies. There is no way he just stops. None. Unless he goes like I'm just going to present everything route. So you're going to be like, Quinten Tarantino presents and just, finances and produces things. But if he's going to do one more movie, I don't see it being, Kill Bill's such a tidy two-parter anyway. Like, I think it would just be unnecessary to do a third one. It'd be fun to do a third one, but it's kind of unnecessary, especially if you only have one film left to direct. So, but like I said, I don't believe that one bit.
Plus, the title is Kill Bill and Bill was killed. So where are you going to go?
Bill was killed?
Bill killed.
Oh, come on. These are what? This movie's 20 years old somewhere.
Oh, well, so to kind of go back to what you were saying, Alex, so for the Kill Bill thing, I do remember in 2004 when this movie was dropped, they were like asking him all these questions about like, would he make sequels to this? And I do remember him saying something about one of the characters, the daughter that actually was in it, that witnesses the bride taking out her mother. He said that he would focus the movie on her and kind of have this whole revenge kind of cycle kind of start all over again.
I do remember that too.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
So I don't remember him saying any time recently saying any like follow up to that, if that was what Kill Bill 3 would be or would somewhat be or whatever. So I do remember him saying it was what's her face, Vivica Fox's character's daughter. He also did say, going to the rumor about the 50s 40s gangster movie, I do remember him saying something about another rumor about if his Star Trek movie ever got made, that's what.
Oh yeah, that was it. That was the other one he wanted to do.
Yeah, so that's what he would wanted the Star Trek movie to be, is like them time traveling again to like the 50s. I don't think so either. But I think that was like one of the rumors that he made. Me personally, I'm kind of in the boat with Matt. Like it wrapped up. It did its thing. You know what I mean? If he wants to go Once Upon a Time a Hollywood route and kind of like make like a comic book out of this, or like some sort of subgenre thing to kind of like follow that story, or you know, that whole world that he created with Kill Bill, do that. Don't do another movie. I mean, but I think the only route that he has left to go is probably sci-fi. I mean, let's face it, he's covered every other genre in the every other genre in the book. So I don't think that he's done sci-fi yet. So I think that's probably the most for sure thing that he's probably going.
I want that Vega Brothers movie that never happened.
Oh yeah. They both got old.
Do you think he set this like 10 film limit just as sort of like a quality control on himself? Like, I'm only going to do 10 films, so I may as well make sure they're the best films that I can make. So that way he knows. So we're probably never going to get this 10th film anyway, because he's probably going to want it to be perfect, if that's the case.
Probably.
He's done.
I don't know. I think it's like it's a telltale kind of theme in a lot of his movies, where there's a person who, like, they're coming to an end, and like when it's their end, that's it. And I think it's kind of like a gritty, poetic way he like tries to tell his movies, and I think he's trying to also live that way. But I think it's like Matt. I think he's not going to direct anymore. He's just going to be like heavily influencing people on the side. Be like presented by, produced by, you know, financial something by. You know, he's not going to be done like in the film industry. It's not like he's going to completely retire. Just is he going to take direction anymore? And I don't know. Maybe it is I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know. I think he means it, but he'll be involved in filmmaking in some manner.
Well, yeah, because I think also like his television doesn't count towards his 10 film limit. Because I mean, he's directed like 2 episodes of like CSI or something like that. It's something random.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's like I think it was CSI. It was some random TV show that he like really dug, I guess, at the time. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's CSI.
Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, probably. But yeah.
Not with the jokes today.
Okay, so moving on. Going to end on some sad news. News. Director Richard Donner has passed away. If for those of you out there in our world doesn't know who Richard Donner is, he was the director of Superman, The Goonies, all 4 Lethal Weapon films. I think he was supposed to direct the 5th one that was coming out. So I'm sure that's probably shelved and canceled. But yeah, he was a very inspirational, very iconic director.
I'd like to think that he inspired Zack Snyder to put out his Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, that film is, until Justice League, probably I'm going to go ahead and argue that it's the biggest change of a director's cut we had.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where, like the Snyder cut, there's just a completely different vision going into it. So, Matt, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tarantino also did direct 2 episodes of CSI, 1 episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live, and 1 episode of ER. Not to change back to that topic.
See, I told you. So.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, Matt.
Well, rest in peace, Mr. Donner. You guys got anything else?
I don't believe so.
Matt, with our double checking news.
Yeah.
Double checking news.
Double checking news. Quickly.
News segment.
Yeah.
Oh,
New
we
segment
didn't even
that-
mention about how there's going to be a new Switch.
The OLED.
Woo.
Yeah, the OLED screen. That's, I think, what the normal Switch is like 6.2 inches. This one's going to be 7 inches.
Whoa. What?
I know. Even Nintendo has a features comparison thing on their website that says, you know, here's the OLED, here's a regular, here's the light, and they have what they do and what they don't do. And almost everything that this one does, the other one does too. I'm like, it's only just a slightly more, like a better resolution on the screen, which who uses that all the time anyway? I'm like, I never do. I always use it on my TV. And then it's just a little bit wider. I'm like, heck, if a trade-in for me was like high enough, I might think about it. But otherwise, I'm just like, that's cool. That's cool. I would go for that if I didn't already have it. Otherwise, I do like the glossy white. It's like glacier white. It's very cool. And I think it kind of coincides with Metroid Dread. I think it comes out the same day too. So October 8th. So I remember that being announced. There was a state of play thing for PlayStation that's coming up soon. They released something. I think it was Canada's. Sony's Canada Twitter team, whatever. That said, hey, Horizon and God of War are not going to be part of this. We don't expect any information on those. I'm like, oh, gasp. Like I was expecting that anyway. Other than that, I don't remember any video game news. Just the Switch being the headliner.
I've got a few things. These are just quick notes. This one's for Alex. Paddington 3 has set production date for Q2 of 2022. So you've got that to look forward to.
Yes, sir.
At the beginning of 2023, probably, Paddington 3.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
He's going to cram the first 2 in a month after the third film's release.
There you go. Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho has been pushed to October 29th, just in time for Halloween. Other bit of sad news, which I don't know if you missed this, but apparently Robert Downey Sr. Passed away.
Oh, yeah.
So, rip.
Rip Mr. Downey.
And then this, I found why just looking at this news, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Somebody posted the names of all the Fast and Furious movies in Japan, and just wanted to see if you guys think these are better. The Fast and Furious, the first one is called Wild Speed, because I guess they can't say Fast and Furious.
Okay.
Too Fast, Too Furious is Wild Speed X2.
Okay.
Tokyo Drift is Wild Speed X3. Tokyo Drift. Fast and Furious, which is the name of the fourth movie, is called Wild Speed Max.
What?
It's Wild Speed Max, man. It's as fast as you can get, unless you get to Fast 5, in which case you're Wild Speed Mega Max. And then they ran out. They were like, we can't get any wilder speed. So from Fast and Furious 6, it's called Wild Speed Euro Mission. So at least we know what happens in that movie.
Right.
Which is better than just Fast and Furious 6. And I guess this is the trend going forward because Furious 7 is called Wild Speed Sky Mission, which I don't remember what happens in that one. I guess they go to the sky. I mean, they went to the sky in F9.
Yeah, they parachute cars into like Germany or something like that.
The Fate of the Furious is called Wild Speed Ice Break because of that submarine.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, wow. Hobbs and Shaw even has a Wild Speed. It's Wild Speed Super Combo.
What? That's the best one.
And then F9, they got a little lazy. It's just Wild Speed Jet Break.
Wow. So not that much worse. And at least every single film has the title of the series in it.
True. At least there's some order.
So Wild Speed. I'm going to refer to them as the Wild Speed movies now.
Because there are like 4 Fast and Furious films with missing either the word Fast or Furious.
Yeah, you were like, Max, Mega Max. I'm like, are we testing paper towels here? What's going on?
Yes.
And then with this last one, Ryan, they just decided not to put either one of them. They were like, all right, we're going to write F. I'm done. 9. We're good.
Yep.
Jetbreaker is the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Wild
even
Speed
make any
Jetbreaker.
sense.
No, I think it's Jet Break. Hold
Jet
on.
Break.
Yeah, Jet Break.
Base. We said we wouldn't talk about Fast and Furious anymore, and you had that nugget that you were waiting on.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was waiting. And you've just witnessed our Fast and Furious corner discussion for the day. You're welcome. Join us every week as we sit down and discuss.
Remember, this is my last week working.
I didn't agree to this.
I don't know about you guys. I was so upset after we recorded last week. I was just ready to go punch something. Like
Wow.
For anybody who's listening, we talked about Fast and the Furious for like 45 minutes after we talked about Fast and the Furious, recording it. We should have just kept recording it, and we didn't. I don't feel like we. I feel like it took this movie, this homework, to get over how dumb Fast and Furious was.
Nah, man.
No.
Ryan, how can you say it's dumb?
Ryan,
It's
you know why?
Great new
Do you
meme.
know why, Ryan? Family. That's why.
Dude.
Okay.
I know.
This is my last minute of this video, actually.
I'm moving on. Okay. So.
All right.
All right, we're done.
No promises. But
Yeah.
since that's the end of the news, hopefully, we are in Loki Doki time. So this week was episode 5. And we find out what happens to Loki. Not that we kind of had to wait very long. So Loki ends up at the end of time. I guess this is where he's at. With other Lokis, he has to figure out a way to get back and to save or to help Sylvie, while Sylvie is also trying to figure out a way to get him and bring him back to the TVA. That's without giving too much spoilers for Mr. Alex. I don't know. I kind of gave this like a 7. I don't know what it was with this episode. Like I don't know if it was just the atmosphere that I was watching it. Because my poor wife, I'm gonna throw her under the bus. She was talking to her sister while I was trying to watch this on my 65-inch screen TV, and I was just like, "What do you? Can you?" But, okay.
Glenn's over here just slowly raising the volume. Like,
Catch the hint. All right.
Some passive aggressive stuff over here.
And for all of you out there, I do love my wife, but
That's good.
yeah, I do. I promise. So I'm probably gonna rewatch this again because my score's a little skewed. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with a 7 right now because I do like some of the things, the actions that happen, and kind of I really actually kind of enjoyed the beginning of it, because you're kind of thrown into this world where he basically asks every question that like I think the viewers are asking while they're watching this. Like, what is this? Why is there an alligator? Like all these other questions. But yeah, I'd stick with a 7 right now.
I concur. This is the most absurd episode of this series so far. Whoever was writing it sure had a lot of fun. They probably might have been smoking something. I'm not entirely sure, but there's a lot going on in this episode. I know we've compared, or at least compared or said that the show has hints of like almost Doctor Whoian type of vibes to it. And I swear there's even a Doctor Who musical cue in here that they threw in. But I definitely got that vibe from this episode. It's kind of hard to be like super critical of this because this episode is just so absurd with what's going on in it. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It's not 8, but it's definitely 7 out of 10 for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. There were just a series of really fun choices creatively met by a few very silly choices by characters in the story for me. And I thought those kind of met each other, and I get some choices and I don't get some choices. I have some fun and I had some questions, and I'm overall very intrigued. This feels more like I need to watch next week before I can talk about this week.
Right.
But yeah, I'd give it a 7, but a good 7. It just didn't feel as jaw-dropping as last week's. And the one thing I thought going into this was like, I heard it was just absolutely nuts. It's nuts. It's not absolutely nuts.
Well, yeah. Again, without going into spoilers, the structure of the episode was, I think, what kind of threw me off, because you have to go back to the other characters in the TVA and stuff like that. But I think with the absurdity of this episode, I think it kind of hindered this episode, where I think they probably could have taken like one of those, we're going to place all the events that happen with Loki's perspective here, and then everything of the behind the scenes of how things, like how Sylvie got or wherever she ends up, in another episode or something like that. Does that make sense? I'm trying not to do spoilers with him listening. So it just, when they go to the TVA, there's like a whole mood and tonal shift. And yeah. I think that was the only thing that kind of like hindered it for me, is because once it shifts from that, and it kind of left me wanting them to go back. And like, I didn't care what was going on in the TVA at the moment, because I wanted to see where he was and what was going on. And like, are we going to get even more absurd with this? Like the Thanos copter in the background. That's amazing. I was like, where is this? That was fun. But and then they like shift out, and it's like, wait, go back. Like, I don't really care right now what's going on right here. So I think that was the only thing that kind of threw me off. So do we want to go spoilers, or?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want me to, I can mute my device.
Yeah, you might want to.
Yeah. Okay, let's go spoilers.
Alex, can you hear us? Alex.
I can barely hear you, but I'm gonna step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Let's talk about him. I'm just kidding.
Did you see that ridiculous hat he's wearing? Just kidding.
I can still hear you. It won't let me mute it all the way.
You have to talk really loudly.
What?
No, this was almost this is the most frustrated I've been with the ending of an episode, though. I was like, all right, we're getting all this good stuff, and then we're getting to the stuff that we really, really want, and see you next week, guys. And I was like, really? This is where we're cutting off. I'm like, you could have cut it off a little sooner. Don't tease me like that.
Yeah.
But no, I like I said, I agree with you, Clint. I think once you get to, did they come up with a name for the place that they were? What did they call it?
They just kept calling it the end of time.
They didn't call it like a void or anything like that.
I think the void is where they were trying to get past.
Yeah. To get to the end of time?
Yeah.
Or no,
to get to the timekeepers.
Yeah. So I really think I understand, because you get Loki in this kind of like almost Wonderland situation where he's got like all these characters and you're like, this is fun, I want more of this, and then you switch back to the TVA and you're trying to figure out, you know, what's going to happen there and what's going to happen to Sylvie. Mm-hmm. And it's just, yeah, it is kind of, there is a definite tonal shift between the two, and it can be.
Yeah, I definitely like it. I think that, like I said, I think that's what brought it down for me, is because it's just like, it's like if you're going to introduce this whole, like you said, this Wonderland and all these kind of different Lokis and stuff like that, and it's like this emergence of where time, I guess, ends, and then like I want more of that. Like, just start, if you're going to go ridiculous, just go ridiculous and just like have that whole episode, and then you can probably like stretch out like a 6th episode to be like, okay, well, meanwhile. And then you go back to the TVA and you just kind of like follow all those characters at the TVA. You follow Sylvie and how she gets to the point where she's at. And then like you have that whole judge, I can't remember her name, but the one judge, and how she's like questioning other people and where she's going and like her motivations and everything, and her whole time with Miss Minutes and all that other stuff. And then that whole episode just be that. And then you have like the 7th episode and have it be the finale. I just like, when they kept flipping back and forth, I was like, okay, like, stop. So
another thing that irritated me, and this is just a small thing, you've got all these different Lokis. You've got like old Loki, you've got young Loki, you've got, you know, Black Loki, you've got Gator Loki, and then the one thing that like that confuses them or makes them question things is like, have you ever seen a girl Loki before? And I'm like, why is this the big, you've got an alligator Loki over here, why is being a girl Loki so why is that incomprehensible? Like, what is going on here? So
yeah,
I just thought that was odd. But I did chuckle every time that alligator bit someone's hand, though. That was hilarious.
I was like, this is on Disney? He just bit somebody's arm off. Wow. Okay.
It's because it was funny.
And it made me laugh, Clint. It made me laugh.
Well, good.
That was a funny sequence. Everyone they just all betray the one guy, and then they all betray Loki, and then they're all just fighting each other. It's like, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My biggest beef with this episode is, why don't any of these Lokis act like Loki? Like, I get that we kind of have to bend it because the show has to happen, but like, Sylvie trusts obviously evil corporate leader for the TVA when she gives like the least convincing performance probably of the show, where she's like, I'm as lost as you are, and I'm like, you're not, and she's like, how can I trust you? I'm like, don't. And then she shouldn't. I feel like she wouldn't. I feel like that character has lived her life on the run from the TVA. She probably shouldn't just turn around and trust the head of the TVA.
Or the person that brought her in.
Yeah, and then they get to jumping around here a little bit, but they get to the end, and a certain, I guess we're heavily in spoilers. And Owen Wilson's like, guys, you want to come with me? And these Lokis are like, no, this is our home. And I'm like, why on earth would you want to stay there? Like, you can go back to anywhere else where you're not in fear of being devoured by a giant cloud or attacked by meaner Lokis. Like, the future is literally limitless. But no, let's stay in this desolate world so that we can just tie up these loose ends real quick. And Richard Grant's like, I'm going to go with these guys. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, I guess I'll help. And I'm like, couldn't have just gone with them in the first place?
Yeah.
But still, fun episode. There were also smart choices. I like that the Loki's like, GS, haven't you tried to find those time thingies? And they're like, yeah, it's stupid. And Sylvie thought of it. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to take one over there. Genuinely smart decision. So
yeah.
As always, love the score.
Yeah. I think that's what confused me a little bit more, as well as just like, how did Mobius end up here? I thought, and maybe I missed this because of other reasons, but is it just where everyone that they pruned?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and for some reason, the Lokis are the only ones that have been able to survive.
Yeah.
The U.S. Navy battleship shows up, or destroyer or whatever.
I was like, that's random. Okay.
TVA's like, oh man, we're dealing with this whole Loki situation. Make sure you grab that U.S. ship. That's a priority right now.
Yeah, right. Some 40s battleship. But yeah. Anything else on this episode?
No, I was going to ask you, and you're all knowing of things comic books, Clint. Any insight onto who's going to be behind the curtain?
I actually have no idea. I'm actually gonna research it. The only reason why I got a chuckle at that Thanos copter is because I remember seeing it in a comic book at one point.
I'm going to go out on a limb just because that's the way this episode and the series is going. It's going to be Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah.
I thought it was too much of a tease to have Loki, like, not evil Loki, but fun evil Loki in a group of Lokis and not really do anything with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, it'd be a little awkward if they took a group of Lokis to the house and found out it was a Loki, but he's outnumbered by 15 other Lokis.
Yeah.
But 2 Lokis.
Well, I mean, might make sense because that's who they seem to be targeting. Like if you kind of like watch, like if you kind of like, obviously we watched it, but kind of just like take hints, like they seem to be pretty heavily focused on Loki at all times. So I'm wondering if that's, like you said, Matt, like he's gonna be like the one being like eradicating his other versions.
So what better, like somebody who's all about himself? We have the show called Loki, the protagonist Loki, the person who we thought was the enemy at first, also Loki, and now the actual enemy is going to be Loki.
Yeah,
I see. Credits are going to just be episode directed by Loki.
Yeah.
Should we buy time for Alex to come back?
Oh, where's Alex?
We're on his phone, so we can't text him, right?
No, I think we could.
Stay tuned, everybody.
All right, so now Alex is back, and Loki Doki time is over. Last episode is next week, which is right in time for Black Widow. So there we go. But we actually did review something this week. Amazon Prime bought the rights to The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt, and so it was released on on Amazon on July 2nd. And it follows Chris Pratt, and he's a science teacher of some sort. I can't remember what his specialty is. But he and his family witness people coming back from the future, not Marty McFly, but other people coming from the future, and saying that aliens have landed on the planet and is eradicating all of human life, and that they need to start sending people from the past into the future to help save the planet. And unfortunately, Mr. Pratt is one that has been drafted into this. So I'm, I don't really know what to say about this movie. I am going to give it a 5 because it is like right in between. And I know that I'm probably going to jump in while you guys are talking, making your points. The only thing that I can say is that the only things that I did like about this movie is some of the action scenes were actually kind of intriguing. Not intriguing, but what's the word I'm looking for? Engaging. Some of the logic of this movie doesn't make sense. Obviously, I know all the logic doesn't make sense. Some plot points are kind of like you see literally in the first 30 minutes of the movie and how this is going to go. You see some of the plot points, the other strings of plots that are going to come back later in the third act, and you're like, of course this is going to happen. Why wouldn't it? I mean, Chris Pratt is obviously kind of charming. He's always like that kind of goofy charm throughout any of his movies. I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays Sam, I think, or whatever his name is. Chris, the black guy. He was hilarious. I wish that they would have included him more into this movie. I think would have probably helped it a little bit. Because there are times in this movie where it gets way too serious, and it's just like I think the movie takes itself a little too seriously. and it's just like, dude, you're aliens, and Will Smith, I mean, could have done this a few years ago. So yeah, I'm gonna give this like a 5.
I think I should go next because one, I haven't talked in a while, and two, I feel like I'm going to be the most positive about this movie.
Probably.
What makes you think that? Matt and I are always super positive.
Yeah, you guys never think anything sucks. No, so I think that this movie is dumb in so many respects, but I'm like, I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is not a terrible time. Like, am I entertained by this? Yes. Is it dumb? Also, yes. But did it make the 2 hours go by? It was a little bit of like, okay, we still got about
2 hours and 18 minutes.
2 hours and 18 minutes.
That's one F9 if you're keeping track.
It's like 85% F9.
Yeah. Sorry.
But anyway, I like after we got through the first hour, I think that I definitely thought that the first hour was paced like pretty well. Like everything kind of goes by pretty quick. I think there's a lot of action sequences that help with that. And then the second half, while in my opinion, not the most dreadful, but like could be better, that was definitely kind of a drag. The first half went by pretty quick, and then the second half was like, all right, 10 minutes later. All right, we still got 40 minutes of this. All right, we still got 38 minutes of this. So it was a little bit of a tale of two halves in that aspect, but I wasn't sitting there thinking I'm having a terrible time. Like, this movie is stupid, but I liked a lot of the shoot 'em up, kind of brain dead kind of action sequences that, are absurd. And the whole plot, a lot of it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But Chris Pratt is fine. Clint said that it does get serious. It does get serious. But I think I almost found that refreshing a little bit because Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt. And, while I say that, like, sounding negative, he's a gem of an actor. Like, America loves him. He's just a goofball. But then it's like, all right, can you show a little bit more of your acting chops a little bit? Can you do a serious role sometimes? I mean, not that I need that. It's kind of a refreshing thing to see him do something else. So I liked it. I thought the effects in this movie were fairly good. Like, the creatures that they go out to fight in the future, like, I don't know what the design, like, if it's good or bad, but like the effects themselves are decent. Like, I found them very, like, nothing looked out of place almost. Like, if you're gonna do a future war movie, that's fine. It looked really well. It's just a plot that's just a little just out there, and it's really dumb, and there's a lot of things that happen for like no explanation other than reasons, and there are Clint kind of he said it where there's a lot of callbacks to like the first half hour of the movie. I mean, this movie kind of doesn't know exactly where it wants to go. It like starts off being like this kind of movie, and then scrap that, we're going to be doing this, and then about half hour later we're going to be doing this. So it's kind of like it doesn't know, it can't make up its mind. So I get that. Like, it's frustrating, yes. Did I find it absolutely like mind-numbingly stupid? No, but it is irritating. So I honestly, I think it was okay. Like, I'd give this just barely a fresh. So I'm going to give this a 6 because I would maybe watch this again. Maybe thinking, okay, am I going to catch these dumber parts? Maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll be worse. Probably going to be worse because I'll be like, wait, why didn't you do that to begin with? And it's stuff like that. So 6 out of 10 for me. Not the best movie, but it's really not the best movie. But I didn't hate it. So
This movie's dumb. Just kidding. All right, so let's start with the good. All right, now let's start with the bad. I'm just playing. Just kidding. There's good parts. The aliens, their design was great. They looked fine. They didn't look. I mean, it wasn't like you're not like staring at them and go, oh man, CGI. So it looked good. Like they spent money on the CGI. So that's good. Some of the action scenes, like I can't remember if it was Clint or Alex said, were pretty engaging. The problem with those is sometimes they didn't stay engaging and then they just gave up without finishing them off. And that was a little frustrating. I'm torn whether or not Chris Pratt's a good actor or not. He does his Star-Lord well. He can be funny, but I'm not sure if drama is his go-to. So, and when you
I'm
have
not
this
going to
movie,
interrupt, but I do want to. When we get back into spoilers, remind me of Chris Pratt himself. Like, there's some nitpicky things. Keep going.
Will do. And like Alex said, this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, it goes from this like drama to this time travel to this action to this we're back to like a family drama to like action to like I don't know. And it's all over the place. And it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. And here's the obligatory. I've texted it. At the end of this movie, you're going to wish time travel was real so you could get that time back. I give this movie like a 4 out of 10. It's not god awful. It's about the same par as far as logic as F9. And I'm not talking about F9 anymore. I just wanted to compare it. That's it. They're about the same. But yeah, the logic for this movie totally ruined it for me. None of it makes sense. You have the plot of future people coming back to recruit people presently to go fight in the future, when logically it would make a lot more sense and probably people a lot happier than to just prepare for the upcoming war. Really? I mean, why are we making this way more complicated than it needs to be? Like, you've even said that you don't think you're going to win, yet you're stealing people to bring them to the future. And let's not even talk about a butterfly effect, for God's sakes, which apparently does not exist in this world whatsoever. So logically, time travel, I hated it all. It bothered me to the end of the movie. The monsters were fine. They were good, I guess. I would even say good, but that's about it. And the end of it's so stupid too. So dumb. So dumb. So yeah, 4 out of 10. And I don't want to say spoilers right now. Oh, also good things. I did enjoy the supporting characters, and that's actually what made me a little sad, because the one guy who was all tough, who's like, I've been 3 tours. I have cancer. And you don't find that out till later. I'm like, I kind of want to see him more. I want to see what he's going through. I want to see the funny guy, Sam Richardson or whatever his name is, which you have that one engaging scene that ends abruptly, and then he's not in the rest of the movie. And then he shows up at the end and he's like, I hid. And I'm like, you spent all that time on that one character, and then you just like, go on. It's spoiler father-daughter time, which is also the dumbest thing ever.
It's some
I'm done.
Interstellar in here.
Yeah, if you're going to watch a movie about time travel, watch Interstellar. Watch Edge of Tomorrow. And if you want to see some aliens, watch District 9, for God's sakes. Don't watch this.
Yeah, that's such a good movie.
I was really hoping you guys wouldn't beat me to that Interstellar reference, because I was watching this film and I was like, it's a dad and the future needs him because his planet's dying, but it won't directly affect him, but he has to leave to go save his future, but it has to leave his daughter, and then she's all sad, but older her is going to help save the future also. And I was like, this is stupid. Matt, I didn't want to interrupt. Sorry.
No, you're fine, man. You can cut me off. If we can talk about anything, I want to talk about spoilers, because we're going to rip this up. So
okay. Well,
continue.
I had been telling myself since I posted my review on Friday up until this very second that I was going to give this a 4 out of 10 when we talked about it tonight, because that's what I talked about, or that's what I gave it going into it. I, for the life of me, cannot justify why I would give it such a high rating. So I'm going to go ahead and start this film at a 3, because I really hated everything about it. I laughed a couple times in the first act. The alien effects were fine. There's the nice things I have to say about it. But I kept thinking, what was a better 2 hours and 20 minutes of my time? This or Fast and Furious? And it was not even, I didn't even have to think about it. I was like, yeah, Fast and Furious was better. And that's a 4. So,
Wow.
Want to know why? Because at the beginning and end of that movie, I feel like maybe, yeah, sure. It was a stupid story, but a story was told. From beginning to end of this movie, neither in story structure nor in true script format or a character arc accomplished. By the beginning of the movie, the only thing that's changed in Chris Pratt's character from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie is his relationship with his dad, which was in the movie for maybe 25 minutes of an almost 2.5-hour film.
Yeah.
And he saved the future, which, Matt, you said time travel is just, I give it 2 points off for not even bothering with time travel. Doesn't even try. I thought for a little bit, and I'm not going to get into heavy spoilers, there's a thing that happens where I thought that it was going to be an intentional paradox in the Looper sense, where I was like, oh man, they're going to do this and this and this and accidentally cause it. And we're going to get this really pessimistic ending. And I was going to really enjoy it. Nope, just stupid. Let's just gung-ho to a bland finale. I didn't even care about any of the action sequences in this movie. I know you guys were talking about them. I can't recall a single action sequence. I don't know which ones you guys were talking about, actually, which ones the good ones were, because there's quick, shoot, 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 run, run, run. Then there's, spinny helicopter. And then there's World War Z, the ripoff. And then there's the punch finale.
I'm talking about the run, run, shoot one. That's the one that I enjoyed.
Yeah, it was the most engaging action sequence of the movie by default.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? You know when you play any video game ever and you expend 15 rounds of ammunition on one boss and you just know you're gonna die? Maybe stop shooting bullets.
Yeah.
Or maybe, hang on, I need to take this off. Maybe instead of inventing time travel, that make better bullets.
Ryan, but let me
that might
add on
explode.
Hold on. Let me add on to that, because I remember us talking about this movie like yesterday or the day before, and I was like, why are we okay? We need to send them in the right time period. But okay, let's just send them into this, maybe because you got a reason. I don't know. All right, let's send them in there with bullets and rope. Good luck, guys.
In their street clothes.
In their street clothes.
This is like the equivalent of saying, like, oh my gosh, my vacuum is eating up my carpet. Let me throw ants at it. I don't know if it's a fair comparison. And I'm like, look, there are movies that are stupid. There are movies that are stupid. And they work hard to justify their plots.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least they put in some effort or self-aware humor. Dare I say, F9 is pretty self-aware. It's not self-aware enough. It's not a generous thing to say about it. But at least they make a joke about it. There's nobody that even says, like, isn't this a bad idea? I don't know. I just work here. They're just like, okay, it's time to go to the future.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like,
the reasons? Yeah, good.
I was gonna say, you said set them in your street clothes. I'm like, I remember them giving them. They gave them like camo, like non-official like camo shirts. They got them from like, I don't know, like the Gap or wherever he said. And he's like, I could have gotten this at like LL Bean or something, whatever. And but I also was like, why are we sending them in camo anyway? What does it matter? You're sending them in the middle of a city. Oh man, let me hide behind this.
Because military, Alex. Military.
Because military. Yeah.
Did you guys notice that he's the only one that had camo on?
Yeah. And that was
he's the military guy.
Though. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Here's the thing what lost me. The first act, dumb but entertaining, and I was genuinely not terribly bored. That's a weird slew of adjectives there, but you know what? Like, I was like, whatever. This is fine. It's not as bad as the Ice Road. It is. But then they get to the second act, and I was like, oh, well, more Interstellar, whatever. And he meets, I guess I'm spoiling some minor things. I'm trying not to. But he meets another individual who's there, and I was like, whatever, this might as well happen. And then they spend the second act of the movie not using Chris Pratt. The most exciting thing he does for the second half of the movie is complain about an MRE that honestly would not be the last MRE eaten. Lasagna, whatever.
He spends like the second half of the movie wondering why his daughter hates him because she doesn't want to tell him.
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to get into their stupid. Let's put the future at risk.
All right. Well, let's go spoilers because I feel like this is where we're going. Before I let Ryan off.
Take over for a minute. I need a minute.
Yeah, let Ryan off the leash again. The thing, the only thing that I actually didn't like about these action scenes is if you notice they did a lot of shooting at the camera, like a lot of it. And I'm not like talking like once or twice. This was like a lot. Like they were shooting at this camera like a lot. And I think that's the only thing that kind of like drove me down as well, is because it's like you're watching this gunfire at the camera and it's like that flashing, it was annoying. Like I think that they could have done a little bit differently with that. And your guys' point, this whole Interstellar subplot with her being like his daughter and everything else like that, it's just like, why did we do this? This is so ridiculous. And it's kind of an interesting kind of like throwback to like other sci-fi movies and this is the future and everything else like that. And it's like, but there's no really kind of weight to this at all. There's no, like, it's not his character. And I think that's what threw me off as well. It's like she starts describing like everything that has happened. And I'm like, but that's not like his character in the beginning. And you can't really justify like a dick later by just time travel. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, we're gonna go with this. And then he like you said, Matt, like he spends the whole like time that he has in the future fighting these things, making up with a daughter that he never really hurt. You know what I mean? And what threw me off as well is like she's mad at him knowing that he's from a past that's not like still not, it's like hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, like part of me was more upset. Like I had just assumed that she was upset because he, time traveled to the future and never came home. But then I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense in this world because she wouldn't be at that point, I guess, if he had time traveled and never, I don't know. But apparently he doesn't time travel in her world, which just blows my head up anyway. It doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. So, and I was like, why are you so angry at this dude who just shows up? And you guys are like the last 500,000, mind you. That's all that's left in this earth. 500,000 people. And you're like the main one that's left? Okay, fine. Right. Why are you so angry?
Well, yeah,
why?
Because like you said, like the butterfly effect, like if he like time travels to a future that he like leaves her in, so he's gone from that timeline now.
Yeah.
So what is she so upset about?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, okay, so I understand the car accident, which, by the way, like they're sending all these people to the future. Are all these people really dead in the future?
Well, here's another thing. Isn't everybody dead in the future?
Yeah, but you can't send the ones that have been fighting the war, apparently, because that would break time space.
This movie doesn't care about time space.
It must not, because I can't for the life of me buy that all these people are drafted into the future are already dead.
Yeah,
that just doesn't make sense to me.
And then you're gonna like the cherry on the smoothie is, all right. Oh, I'm dead. How do I die? We can't tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, dang it, Matt! You beat me to that.
Sorry, ma'am. We were.
Well, let me beat you to another one. Let's not show the white spikes so that the audience can't see them. Like you're drafted in the military. It's more terrifying not to see them.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid we give you some useful information.
Yeah, maybe
how
like
to fight them. Here's
fake...
aim for the neck. Great.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Matt and I were literally talking about that same thing. Oh man, we can't show you what they look like, otherwise you wouldn't go. Like we were both like this. You're sending us to our death. You better show me what they look like. And then what did you say? You said something else and I totally forgot.
I don't remember. Yeah, but like every decision in this movie is the worst possible decision. Like they literally just pick these people up because apparently they're dead in the future, send them to the future. They give them guns, like the most least effective guns ever. I mean, shouldn't they hand them like grenades or something that blows up? Obviously, these bullets are not doing anything.
Right.
What breaks it for me is when we get to the second act and they're like, we discovered a way to kill the males with this whatever
Toxin.
I'm like,
yeah.
what? Like, when did you discover that? Just now? Because like, use it. Like, oh, we gotta get the females. Then they spend a convenient amount of movie montage to just get it done. Then they're like, oh, they're all coming for her. And then they're like, should we kill her? Nah, it's fine. We need her. I'm like, well, not if you're dead. Maybe kill her before she continues to tell them to kill you, because that's what happens. And then I'm like, then he takes the sample back, and then they end up just like blowing them up.
Yeah.
What's the point of the second act of the movie?
I mean,
Father-daughter, man. It's that family drama.
Yeah, let me jump off this ledge and try to save my daughter and screw over humanity.
No, what? Circling back around, I do remember saying, remind me of Chris Pratt. There were some like really bad acting moments, I will admit. Like, well, okay, several by him, but like there was also one at the very, very beginning of the movie where there's a soccer game going on, and these people start coming back from the future in the middle of the game, and then all of a sudden that woman's just talking to nobody, or she's talking to everybody. There's no camera, there's nothing. She's just like doing a whole monologue, and I'm like, who are you talking to?
We can't hear you.
But then circling back to Pratt, there were like some really bad like line deliveries, and I'm just like, this looks like you just started acting. Like he's just kind of like, I guess when he figures out that, or she tells him that he's her father, or he figures it out. I can't remember how it happened, but he's like, he says something along the lines of like, I'm your father. Like, and he just says it so monotone and so like dumb. I'm just like, and he does that several times throughout the movie. And I'm just like, maybe you shouldn't do drama. Maybe you should just be the goofy, Parks and Recreation guy.
Yeah.
Just be Star-Lord, man. Just be Star-Lord.
Well, not. And I guess it might have been a good fit for a movie where the top mind on the earth is like a high school kid who can give them the information they need.
Well, a volcano.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I was talking. Like every like connection, like every little plot point, or like every little reference that they have in the beginning of this movie, it's like, this is gonna come back later. This is gonna come back later. This is definitely coming back later. And it's just like, that's literally what I thought in like the last 20 minutes of this movie, because they were like, oh, well, there's sediment from like China and everything. How does sediment go in there? I'm like, it's the fucking volcanoes, guys. Come on. Sorry, but I'm just like, this kid is gonna come. Like, I was like, when they started saying that, I was like, so the volcano kid's coming back. And then he said something about like, well, who's really going to take us? Yeah, who can pilot us in the middle of Russia and like all this political? And I was like, oh, well, that's J.K. Simmons. Why not? Yeah. Like, we introduced him 20 minutes into this movie.
Santa.
Yeah, conspiracy.
Can we give
Santa.
Father of the Year award to J.K. Simmons, by the way?
Oh my god.
How is J.K. Simmons the only one who knows how to like disarm this futuristic band?
He's not. There's lots of people who could do it, but they're not the main characters.
Disarm what?
No, they've got to fly into Russia and do it themselves.
Oh yeah.
Another thing, how can they give them this futuristic like band that looks like it's pretty durable, but they can't give them any other armor? Here's your street clothes. Enjoy. Go on.
So they spent all their money on, because they obviously didn't spend it on weapons either. It was all the futuristic bands.
Or vehicles. Also, these aliens, I guess, can swim, so there's no point in putting a base out in the ocean.
They also didn't spend it on brainstorming time, so.
Yeah. Just honestly, like, I don't understand. I guess Russia's pretty secretive, but how does nobody know? They had so much time to find out where these aliens came from. And they couldn't go back there and try to find out then, or then they finally, some high school kid figures it out, and then their solution is to go to Russia, and then they get there, and then it's like, oh, yep, now we're in alien covenant territory, or the thing. And then instead they're like, well, because the government doesn't want to help them save the world, I guess. Very Fast and Furious, but whatever. And they're like, we could go back and we could take evidence and they could do some paperwork and they could come back. And I'm like, yes, do that. Don't be the only ones with this information. Like, you have years and years to fix this problem. You don't need to do this right now. Then they go in the ship and stick not the queen first.
They're just trying to get it fast and get it done, man. They're ready to go in.
They've got to get to the punch knife fight with an alien.
At least they could have had like a throwaway line where it's like, we have to kill these things before the government finds out so they don't turn them into weapons.
Yeah, there are a lot of moments circling back to, I remember, like, we were talking about how these aliens are basically bullet sponges, except when there are times that they aren't for the sake of convenience. Like, yeah, I know. Also, we were talking about how it's like, oh, right, shoot them in the neck or the belly. I'm like, probably could have figured that out on my own anyway, but thanks for the advice. But, you know, they're shooting them like 1,000 rounds. And then the one time Chris Pratt has like a handgun, he's like, and then like it's dead. And I'm just like,
yeah, how powerful is this handgun?
Yeah, right? Or how convenient is this handgun?
This handgun must be a better shot than those 40 bullets that are spraying out a second.
The future gun, man.
I don't.
I would have loved. You know what? I'm just gonna quick pitch because I think I finished putting it together in my head. So you got Chris Pratt, and then he's like a low on his luck guy, and then the future comes calling, and they need help, and we can justify the explanation better. And then he goes to the future because he gets drafted. Then he meets his daughter, and she's like, "When you came back, you left, and then this all happened." And then he goes back, and he's trying to prevent that from happening, and he goes to Russia and causes it.
I like the idea. If you want people like to travel back from the future and like recruit people to go into the future to fight a war, I think it'd be more interesting if those people were actually the villains to begin with, and that's how they're taking over the world.
Ooh.
They transfer you to the future and like kill you or enslave you.
It would explain why the future sent their least charismatic soldiers back in time. Like, have some recruitment tactics. Screw that. Just go. Just everyone, anybody who doesn't want to die here can go.
Our overlords need more meat. Go.
And it also took me a second to realize, I was like, I know her face. I know what she's from, but I just can't think of it. His wife, she was that woman in The Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about underused.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like, for as funky as this movie is good, I'm like, she's probably utilized just the right amount. I'm good. I have bad taste from The Hunt in my mouth, so no, I'm good.
I've washed it out by now.
Yeah. I enjoyed The Hunt. Whatever.
Nah. It's still there. Where she's all like this.
Matt, I enjoyed it.
What side of her face? Like this the whole time. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I just can't get around the concept of that was the best strategy. Any of this movie. None of it. Like, they literally had to build infrastructure to send people to the future. And not one person was like, should we be doing something else more effectively with our time?
You know what? I figured it out. You know how the Angry Birds movie feels like they're just making it up on the spot? Like every scene feels like it just rolls off the next one. That's what this movie feels like.
Well, I think they had the concept of what they wanted. They're like, what if people came from the future and were like, help us? And then they sent us to the future to fight. All right, let's make a movie about that. And that's all that you got.
Yep. Yeah. They just kind of did it as they went. And then they went back and they were like, oh, we need to figure out how to get there. Let's write in a kid early on. That feels the only thing they went back and wrote in was the kid. Because
and they're like, wait, Doesn't this sound a little like Interstellar? Yeah, no one's seen that. Just keep it in the movie.
Nobody remembers that. Yeah.
Only one of the greatest movies.
We'll just say it's an homage.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, you know what? You guys are right. It does feel like, now that you say that, it does feel like somebody was like writing a script on the side and be like, Chris Pratt, hey, here's your lines for today. And they're like,
He's like, I got
Cool.
2 lines about an MRE.
cool.
Why is this kid in my class so excited about volcanoes? We'll explain later, Chris. Just wait.
just hold on. We'll get back to that. And they're like, oh, J.K. Simmons is here. We paid him money. Maybe we should have him later in the movie. Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot that. You
Right, guys, where's Spider-Man?
Right? Oh, this is an MCU movie?
Wait, where's Whiplash 2? Am I rushing or am I dragging this time?
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna also I typically love to talk about like scores, even in bad movies. But Lorne, I think his name's Lorne Balfe, Hans Zimmer Jr. is not a very eloquent composer. He studied under Zimmer, so he did a lot of work with him. And gosh, he just was like, what if I did World War Z, but really bland?
Does anybody like this movie also has like 2 climaxes for this movie? Why did we need both of these?
Like, so I felt like it just kept going, and the tone constantly changed in this movie, like all the time. Like, what am I watching?
Writing endings to it. They wrote a 90-minute movie where she dies, he goes back, and that's their solution. They gave it a nice I Am Legend either cut where it's like, oh, there's hope for humanity. And then they were like, no, it's not long enough. Let's make this big finale. And then they were like, oh, well, blowing it up's not very exciting. Fist fight.
Welcome to Earth.
J.K. Simmons.
That is true. Like, after, like, you know, she plummets to her death. And I'm like, all right, he's going back in time. He's back with the toxin or whatever. I'm like, this movie's over. And then I checked it and I'm like, there's still another 30 minutes. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly. I did too. I was like, what are we going to do for 30 minutes? Like,
Which is good, because I had been wondering about that loose end volcano kid. I'm like,
how's
like,
this gonna
man,
play out?
what is he up to?
Right? So ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many ways in this movie for them to have their cake and eat it too. I was just thinking, what if they did go back and they got the military to go with them and they accidentally let out all the aliens and the aliens killed all the military? You could still whatever to your fist fight, but you can have it be smarter. 10% smarter is all I wanted from this movie.
Nope. I'll accept.
We didn't even talk about the opening, the cold open, which doesn't matter that it's in the opening because it gets to the action like 5 minutes in it anyway. Where I'm like, everyone survives, everyone should be dead, like 45 seconds into the movie. That's a bad way to start a movie when every character should die.
Yeah.
Because a free fall from 25 up or whatever.
I just like how they were like, we need something interesting at the beginning of this movie to let the audience know what they're in store for. So let's just splice this 2 minutes from the middle of this movie at the beginning.
And then really freaking end it with narration. Like, it's just I don't want to talk about it anymore. I legit 3 out of 10.
Yeah. If anything, yeah, I know that was such a weird part to put in because you're experiencing it like 15 minutes later, maybe. And I'm like, maybe if they cut to like, because they went all the Zack Snyder in slow motion and he's diving for his daughter, maybe show like just him, like not who he's diving for, but you know, just him. Maybe show that if you're gonna show anything, it doesn't need it at all.
Or maybe have like a scene that doesn't even have Chris Pratt in it with like, you know, people who have been transported to the future on the ground, like sneaking up or trying to hunt like one of those aliens, and then have them get massacred, and then go black, and then go into the drama of the movie. And you're like, oh wow, I wonder what that was.
I would agree with that. That's not a bad way either. So
do it like
the way they did it was really weird.
Mm-hmm. But by the way, who doesn't check the rest of the ship? Did they really think that those like 5 aliens in that ship were like the only ones? Like who? Like, what are we doing?
We checked the one room we're in, guys. We're good.
Yeah, and this huge ship that crash landed onto Earth and froze over. These are the 5 that survived. What? Let's check this ship first before we start pegging people with like toxins or whatever.
That's what could have happened, Ryan. They could have like stopped the what are they called again? White spikes.
White spikes.
Yeah, there we go, white spikes. But maybe unleash something even worse.
There you go.
There you go.
We've pitched. I said I would stop. I thought it was done.
Oh, great! Now we have COVID-20. And everyone dies.
We were okay. I'm not done, I guess. Yeah, no, I agree with you. We were all, because I watched it with my fiance and her family, and they're usually, I mean, I'm not trying to say anything negative. They're usually just totally okay with silly movies. Like it's it's perfectly fine to not be as critical as us. And Alex, you seem to enjoy this movie, okay, and that's fine. But like, you don't have to deep dive into it.
Sitting there going, why do you guys not have standards?
Oh my gosh! But even everybody in her family was sitting there, and we were all pitching ways this movie was going to end, just like we are now. And every single freaking version was better than the way it ended. And even her dad was like, "Oh, what if they just kickstart the apocalypse 20 years early?" And I was like, "Ooh, nope." I was like, "It's the Thing. They're just going to all die." Nope. Okay, well, what if they let the one get out, and it's like Life. Nope.
Oh yeah.
Lots of notes.
All right.
Odd movie.
It's a horrible movie.
I just think it's unique that we have like a skew. Like Alex gave it a 6, you gave it a 5, Clint, I gave it a 4, and Ryan gave it a 3.
Yeah.
Just depends on who you are. You'll have maybe a good time for a second. Or maybe you'll hate everything about it.
I would say if you were genuine, if somebody who was like interested in it, watch the first 30 minutes. And if nothing stands out as something that you hate, you'll probably enjoy the next, what feels like 4 hours.
I think that's astute.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree.
But if you want to kill 2 hours and 20 minutes watching something dumb and better, go see Fast and Furious. Yes.
They're gonna put that on the poster.
The new Fast and Furious poster. At least we're not the Tomorrow War.
There are dumber things you can watch.
Off the dumber.
They all star Chris Pratt.
Oh man.
All right. Are we done with this stupid movie?
Yes. And I am.
Spoiler alert for everybody: we aren't going to end the podcast and then talk for an hour and a half more on this movie. We are done.
Yeah,
we're done.
There's not as much to say. I will say that maybe that's not a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. I mean, Fast and Furious. Maybe it's because I got so much enjoyment talking about that movie that I might like it a little more having talked about it negatively. Is that odd?
Go ahead, Matt.
I think it's better. I think this movie is more frustrating. Like you look at F9 and you're like, this is dumb, but it's not like frustrating. I don't feel offended.
It knows
this. I feel this. I almost feel offended. I'm like, really? So
yeah, Vin Diesel doesn't risk the universe making a self-sacrifice. He just does it.
Just wait till the next movie.
For family.
I don't want to talk about the next movie.
For family. Well, yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. As much as I can't stand those movies, like I understand that. Like with Fast and Furious, like you kind of expect it to be kind of like retarded. Where like this, it's almost like somebody went to film school and took that like book and was like, film school? Who needs that? And just threw it all out the window and was like, we're gonna make whatever we want, how we want, and we're just gonna let logic just kind of like play by itself.
All right, Zack Snyder.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's almost insulting. Like this movie was just like, we're gonna tell you a story, and I'm like, tell a better one.
Next time, don't use time
travel. It's
travel.
not a complete story.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're right. Like you can take literally one point out of this movie and make it more logical, and it would be a completely different movie. Like you said, Matt, in the beginning, like the time travel. Why don't we go back and like stop the war before it starts? Well, because we won't have a movie. Like that's probably a good reason.
You know what? What if
you wouldn't have a bad movie? You might have a better movie then.
Right.
The whole point of the premise is to get Chris Pratt in the future, right? Would you argue otherwise, or would you say that's the point of the movie? You can do that without recruiting people from the past. Go back, try to do some research, be like, hey, guys, don't mind us. We're just trying to save the future by making it better now. And then Chris Pratt accidentally teleports to the future or something like that. We have a whoops, time travel.
Or, yeah, grab him specifically.
Yeah, pick experts in the field that are... Why don't they do that? Why don't they pick people who are qualified for this stuff? They're like,
that's a good question.
Nah, you guys are all fine. Everyone's the same. Let's put one military guy with like...
We're going to pick this janitor over here. We got this librarian.
It's called Collide.
We got this barista.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm saying is if you change one illogical point of this movie into something logical, then it's a completely different movie. And I think that's what's the most frustrating and almost insulting type of way of viewing this movie. Like we even talked about it. Like somebody just offhandedly says, "Oh yeah, it started in Russia." Okay, let's go back to Russia. What the hell are we doing here? Let's start there and work our way to this and see how and why they were here, or whatever, how this started.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would be better if there was a nefarious reason they were going into the future. It would make way more sense than, oh, they actually are going to the future to fight these stupid aliens.
Right.
There's nothing else going on.
Also, picture this. You're the aliens, right? And you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want anything to do with this planet. End of movie, right?
Wow.
They all just go back to sleep forever.
But it's like you were saying though, Ryan, it's obviously they can swim, so why don't if they don't like the cold, let's move our base to Antarctica or whatever. Somewhere cold. It's just you take one point of this movie and make it logical, then it's a completely different movie. And I think that's the insulting part of it. Is it's just like you said, Matt. It's just we're gonna go back, and we're gonna send everybody to the future to fight these things, and it's just why fight them? Why don't we just go back and figure out why they're here? I think that would be completely a better movie. Like you said, maybe she understands that her father is dead and she's got a beef with him for some stupid reason, and so I'm gonna go back and recruit him and bring him to the future and be like, hey, help me solve this almost War of the Worlds type of thing where it's if we drug one, we can kill them all, and it's okay, let's do that.
My favorite part was the inclusion of that. I like that the aliens have a Sabbath, they just have this. Oh, on the seventh day, they all go back to their burrow and rest.
Oh, so they could have downtime making the formula or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we jump from Chris Pratt's first day to his sixth day there on his tour. I like how no one just takes a queen and dangles it over a volcano.
No, that didn't end up probably like Gremlins. They get hit with lava and they just multiply.
Can't be worse, right? Or they could just set up a missile range. Missiles seem to work. Were nuclear weapons not considered? Because I'm going back to Independence Day. What's his face would have just nuked them. He would have just been you know what? We're attacking Russia. The rest of the world, if you want to join in, that's fine. But we're just nuking Russia.
Yeah.
They work on zombies. I don't see why they wouldn't work on aliens.
I mean, these are basically zombies. It's a zombie movie. It's probably a better zombie movie than Army of the Dead was. Wow, yeah. This is World War Z. Oh, well, there's an outbreak and we're all gonna die and we have to isolate ourselves in the ocean and we've got to send people to go find out where it came from. It goes from Interstellar to World War Z.
I think I would have liked this better if the future people would have showed up and were we need you to come help us fight. And we were just nah. We're good.
I feel
man.
like we would say nah.
Yeah, like
Not our
nah.
concern. I'm dying. I'm dying in 7 years. I'm good.
Yeah, right. I know. Now that you say that, it's like, who's signing off on this? Like, oh yeah, we need to say, like, we're here to like save our future and whatever, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, we can do that.
It's like what is that? This is Logan's Run, where it's like, oh, everyone's gonna be fine. We're gonna go up in the thing, and I'm like, no, this is a trap.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is like how did we get these people to like sign off on this? Like who?
A draft apparently, because it doesn't work in the movie.
Well, yeah, but it's just like, who agreed to this? Like, I want to meet the president that was like, "You're from the future, really, and you need our help? Yeah, take whoever you need."
I'd be
like,
so you're telling me I'm gonna die before the aliens show up? Yeah, I'm not going, man. I am not going.
Yeah. Wait. So he's like, so there's no problem.
So like, this doesn't affect me. So yeah, I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna chill.
so messed up. Like, nah.
You know
I
what,
mean,
too?
I'll fight
Like,
the aliens now if they show up, but I'm not going into the future to fight them. That's dumb.
oh, I'm gonna be like, let's instead of sending humans to the future, just take every weapon we have. We'll demilitarize ourselves. You guys can have them all. If it doesn't work there, it's not gonna work later.
Yeah, or like you said, like apparently when they time travel, they can just put them anywhere. I guess just keep sending nukes. Just keep sending nukes.
What about like androids, robots? Like you said,
No, it's
man,
like time travel instead.
No, man,
That's
they can't do that. That's too higher. That's too much technology.
Mhm.
Our limit is time travel. We can't do robots.
It's like apparently it's time travel, guns, better vehicles, robots. Great enhancements.
I mean, we got a future with killer AI robots. Why can't we have it in this movie? They time travel apparently. Let's time travel them.
I like how R&D in the future is like, oh God, we're getting beat by these aliens. What are you working on? Time travel? What?
But it only works specifically to this time frame. So the longer we take, the closer we get to the deadline for this to work in the first place.
Yeah.
Can you make it better? No.
No, yeah, Ryan. It's called rafts. That's what it's called.
Yep.
Did you finish those new exploding ammunitions? No, man, I'm too busy working on this time travel. I think I almost got it.
You know what's funny though is like I just thought about it. It's like, why did we go? What did they say? Like 30 years in the past? Why didn't we go further in the past? Do you think they were just been like, that's too ridiculous?
Because time travel only works the way it works because
Because time travel, guys.
I'm gonna go back to the gun thing because I was playing Fallout 4 a couple weeks ago and I went into an area and I shot some robots and it didn't work. So I left and I went to my workbench and I added like a perk or something that like had some explosive bullets and I went back and killed the robots. It took me like 10 minutes of real time to figure out how to beat these robots.
All right, guys. Here's your one camo sock, and here's your stick. Good luck.
Here's your stick.
Get them in the neck or the stomach. Good luck. We're gonna drop you on a building, by the way.
Without their heads, they're powerless.
Even Starship Troopers treated their characters smarter.
It's so fun. Wait, I don't know if I gleaned a little bit at your review or if I just saw that somewhere that was comparing it to Starship Troopers, but I was like, I think it was you, so that's maybe not as big a coincidence as I thought. Okay, I was like, because I remember somebody comparing it to Starship. I think it was you.
I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
couldn't help
Starship
it.
Troopers is a masterpiece compared to this.
Comparatively, yes.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers 4 is a masterpiece comparatively.
Wow.
No, but I mean, I was comparing this in my head, and I was like, that is a movie that executes a really silly premise with really silly choices for really good intent.
Hmm.
It's like, here's a bunch of, it's like aliens are throwing big rocks at the Earth.
Yeah.
So instead of continuously blowing up these rocks, we're gonna recruit everybody to go fight them as badly as possible, and it totally works because it's satire.
All right. We're running on some time. So cutting this off here. That's enough for the Tomorrow War. All right. So coming up next week, the MCU is officially back. We are going to be reviewing Black Widow. And I think the next Fear Street movie actually comes out this Friday as well.
It does, yeah.
So I'll be watching that as well. But our main review will definitely be Black Widow. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
Probably.
No.
That was a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
I did have a little thing. I'm sorry. I actually did. So, like, you got a group of soldiers. One of them has been there 3 times, and one of them is brand new. Let's pick the brand new one to lead.
He has military experience, Ryan.
Oh, yeah, that
man.
qualifies you.
The other one just had cancer.
I forgot about that. We even talked. Anyway, I'm done.
All right. So just a quick reminder, if you guys rather take us on the go, or please listen to us. Our audio version is on Apple Podcast, Apple Music, and Spotify. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment. We like hearing from everybody. So I'm going to cut this off. So meeting is adjourned. See you guys next week.